session, because not only are we going to be sharing and learning, but we're also going to be thinking, co-creating, putting things together that we can go tomorrow and make everything that we do better. We'll start off, of course, with our introductions and welcomings in terms of opening the session and what it's about, all the way from Dr. Amos Nungu, who will be gracing us today. Then we'll go into a panel discussion. And in this panel discussion, we'll be exploring the ideas of the African ecosystem and what it means to be a digital innovation hub, taking lessons from across the region. Thereafter, really want this today is not the people here coming on stage and sharing and talking, but to hear what's important for you. And answer questions that are on your mind, so that when you leave here today, you know that the time you spent was worthwhile. The questions will be exactly for that. There'll be a time for Q&A where you can drill the guys here on the stage, or you can even comment and add your thoughts and contribute to a discussion. That's why today we are in circle or round tables, because that's exactly what we're here to do, is to discuss, look at each other eye to eye and share ideas as equals and ecosystem professionals that are working together on the same goal. And then we will go into a defining of the DIH purpose workshop. This is our co-creation portion. And so I hope we'll be able to put on our thinking hats, our creativity hats, but most importantly, bring our hearts to make change and meaningful change in our work. And then we'll close off by taking off away from here the things that we can start with from tomorrow. And maybe the day after that, we'll build on, but we have to leave here with something. And that's what we'll close off with, before then moving into our networking and cocktail sessions later. So that's how our day is looking like. How does that sound? Does that sound okay-ish? Sound good? It sounds amazing. I don't hear the energy. Come on, guys. Is that okay? Well, give me a thumbs up. Is it a down? A down? So got some downs, okay. Some sideways. We'll see if we can get that better. You know, it's 2 o'clock. We just ate. Maybe some of us are sleepy a little bit, but we'll be able to get that going as we go along. Thanks so much for helping us here set up for our moderators and our speakers. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I will ask you to please help me to welcome onto the stage the Director General of COSTECH, who will be opening the session for us today. And with your help and a round of applause, I will ask for Dr. Amos Nungu. Dr. Amos Nungu to come onto the stage. Thank you so much. If you can give another one, please.
Habari za mchana. Good afternoon. Kazi iendelee. Yes, so it is another afternoon after a heavy meal. But I see the title, it is Purpose-Driven Digital Innovation Hub. So we are here for a purpose, isn't it? Yeah, we are here for a purpose. And I should start by congratulating everyone being part of the Innovation Week, because without participants, then the week will be dull. So hongera kwa kila mmoja wetu. Our partners and guests from Psych program, welcome to Tanzania. I think now Swahili is already a language known So I think you have already picked it up, so you know, nikisema karibu Tanzania. Good. Yes, so for those who are our guests, the Innovation Week started about 7 years ago as an event between COSTECH and then HDIF. Then the government, trying to be inclusive, we started something also known as Makisato, which started with a guideline on how to identify and support innovators, including those who are not in the formal sector. Last year, when we had our Prime Minister as guest of honor, he challenged us and said, no, the Innovation Week should be a national event. You cannot go national in 1 year. So this year we managed to go to up to 18 regions in the country. And partly it is due to the support of the hubs we have in the country. So this meeting today is very important when you talk about digital innovation hubs with a purpose. So first of all, I wanted to recognize and appreciate the support from the hubs for allowing us to be able to execute the directives from the Prime Minister that we should go cover all the country. So hongereni sana na asanteni sana. Now, COSTECH, for those who doesn't know it, stands for Commission for Science and Technology. So we call it Tanzania Commission for Science and Technology, in short, COSTECH. It is the principal organ for coordinating and promoting STI in the country. And I would say when we talk about the I, before we have the science and technology, but around 2005, 2008, that's when the innovation started picking up in Tanzania. And in 2011, we had our first tech hub, the Buni Hub. Also, we have Kinu Hub, which was supported by the private sector. And unfortunately, it didn't survive. So we still have the Buni until today. And through the Buni Hub, we are happy to see, even in this room, we have many hub representatives, which means as a country, we are moving, we are not stagnant. As I mentioned, we have hubs in all the zones in the country. And by the way, since 2011, when we have our first hubs, until recently, we jumped 33 points in the Global Innovation Index. That's also a big milestone, partly thanks to the hubs and the ecosystem players in the country. Now, in such growth, our Buni Hub was now transformed into a hub of hubs, because Buni Hub is located into the government facility, it's part of the government, now cannot compete with the others, while COSTECH is supposed to coordinate and promote STI. So Buni was now transformed into a hub of hubs, because now we have many hubs and we wish to have many more. Now, in such, Buni Hub now offers support to new hubs in the area of general concept of innovation, understanding the ecosystem, also identifying the need for innovation spaces, program scratching, and developing sustainable plans. Because as I said, for example, there were two hubs initially. One couldn't sustain. So when we have a hub of hubs, but they are providing that kind of cushion, the support. Because for us, when it comes to innovation and innovators, we have seen that the hubs, incubators, accelerator and the like, they play a pivotal role in making sure that, these innovations, they take shape. There are a lot of creativity, but if they don't have the grips of what the market wants, and most of the innovators, they are comfortable. They are very, excited with the technology, with the product, with the idea. Usually they don't see whatever I'm thinking I'm producing. Is there someone who needs it? Or how can I package it differently so that it can be taken by the industry, the consumers? So these hubs, incubators, etc., and the like, they are playing that role to support the innovators, making sure that, whatever they are dreaming about, it is in line with what the market wants. That's why now we have Boon Hub to assist the new hubs to fulfill that role. Because otherwise, if it is demand-driven, then the hubs will be only in the cities. How about the remote areas? Still you have innovators there. So we are very glad of our services. And as I said, we are glad about every support the hubs providing to the innovators. However, to really grow, we need to open up our relations, regional as well as international. Now this is where now we have our partners, SAIC, coming from the SICE program. I think some of the hubs also, they are beneficiaries of the SICE program. But then we have the African EU, which we see here today. Now this is a consortium, a transcontinental network academy for African and European digital innovation hubs, with organizations from 8 countries working together. So for Africa, we have Tanzania, Uganda, Nigeria, and Ghana. And in Europe, we have Slovakia, Italy, Greece, and Portugal. African EU support the strengthening of existing digital innovation hubs in Africa and they facilitate the collaboration between European and African digital innovation hubs to strengthen the common EU-AU innovation and the startup ecosystem. Now, between the two continents, a lot has been achieved and learned. There is a saying in Africa, I'm not sure if it's only in Africa, but they say, if you want to go faster, go alone. But if you want to go further, you have to go together. So, talking about SICE and now SAIC, I think if we can look back, there's a lot we have achieved together compared to if we work alone. And now, through African EU, we wanted to go further because we are learning from the two continents. Now, the Purpose-Driven Digital Innovation Hub workshop which is going on now. And COSTECH, we are proud to host it, along with you being the participants of the workshop. So we are making a history here in terms of deliverables to the project. But most importantly, the moderator said, whatever we discuss here, it is an input to the project. It is an input to the 8 countries in the consortium. So our voice, our contributions, whatever we say today, I mean, it will shape the outcome of the consortium, of the project. And we hope those outputs will be shared to the funders, the EU, and then it will be propagated to others. So for the hubs who are in this room, participating in this workshop, it is an opportunity to be part of that knowledge generation, which will be shared to others, to other hubs, hub members in Africa, as well as in Europe. Hence, building a stronger African innovation ecosystem. So it is my strong desire that today's workshop and the subsequent networking event will provide a pivot growth to the hubs. And by those few remarks, I wish you all a very successful deliberations. Asanteni sana. Na mjadala mwema. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Please give it up one more time for Doctor. Thank you for that reflection, the setting of the very important context that we are sitting on here today. Each of us, as we hear from Dr. Nungu, is that we are each puzzle pieces in the innovation picture and the innovation purpose that we want to see here in our country and in our continent. And without each of our contributions, that puzzle cannot be complete. And so want to encourage each of us today to let all the ideas, the comments, the challenges shine in your puzzle piece, such that today's picture may go back to the other core stakeholders as a full picture, that they can see what is happening on the ground and what is important to you. And on that note, we will be now taking a photo as we are graced with our Director General. I'll ask each of us to come here onto the stage, and we'll have our cameraman direct us. He'll be taking over this session going forward. So please, guys, stand up, come over to the stage.
Tanzania. Tanzania. Innovation. Tanzania. Innovation. Tanzania.
Thanks so much. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. I hope that you all had your good side going. Who has a good side? You know your good side? If you're on the wrong side, I'm sorry. We'll see if we can Photoshop, but that's how we'll print it in the news tomorrow. So hopefully you had your best face. But let's quickly move on here because we've started off great momentum. I think we've got a lot to learn and a lot to share. And we've also got ecosystem professionals and experts from across the region who them too as well are facing challenges, have overcome these challenges because these are the things that make us who we are today. And on that note, we'll be having a panel discussion in which I'll call on our moderator as well as our speakers onto the stage and then hand over to our moderator who will take us through the session, which is a panel discussion on the challenges and how to overcome them as we're exploring the African ecosystem and digital innovation hubs with purpose. So I think that's our key word for today. Purpose. Every time anyone says digital innovation hub, we say with. And if someone might be saying, in our digital innovation hub, it is with. Come on, do you feel the purpose? Maybe by the end of the day, you'll be feeling it. I'll let it slide this time. But our moderator, please, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Jumane Tambalike. My mistake, please. Thank you so much, sir. Right here, yeah, thank you. And he'll be joined by speakers, firstly being Mr. Grant Bale from Namibia. And then we'd like to call on as well Ms. Lee Sina Lehong from MLab South Africa. Thank you. And we also have Dr. Gerald Kafuku, who's the director for the Center of Development and Transfer of Technology. Dr. Kafuku. Dr. Kafuku in the room. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that side, please. And then to our moderator, thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much, Buntu Majaja. Did I get it right? Okay, great. Yeah, I got it right. Yeah. Good afternoon. You guys, you look very serious. For someone who has just had lunch, you look very serious. Yeah, so when I say innovation, you say Africa. Innovation? Africa. Innovation? Yeah, because we have our amazing colleagues from the rest of Africa, and we were a bit selfish during the photo because it was Innovation Tanzania, Innovation Tanzania. So now it's Innovation Africa, it's Innovation Africa. Yeah, so I'll jump into it, and I will let these amazing colleagues to introduce myself. On the right is Grant, and then we have Sina, and a very
sit there because.
Oh, okay. Yep. Back to it. So on my right-hand side, now I have Dr. Gerard. He's a very good friend, and we worked together at Costech for a couple of years. And then there's Grant, and we have Sina. Sina, your second name is a bit tricky. Legrand. Go, Legrand. Okay, wow, that's amazing. Great. So as our spirit in Tanzania, we are always keen to allow our guests to feel at home. So I'll start with our guests. Walalapo. Did I get it right?
No.
Oh, shit. Okay. I did? Oh, wow, that's amazing. So that's how they greet each other in Namibia. Great, so you use this one. So, Grant, please introduce yourself.
Good day, everyone. My name is Grant Bali. I work for the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology in Namibia, our sister organization, COSDEC, obviously. But personally, I work in the creation and the creation of co-creation platforms for innovation, in facilitation, coordination, and designing these programs. So that's mostly what we do. We only work with innovation programs. But we'll get into this a lot deeper throughout the conversation, I'm sure.
Great. And Sina, Sabona.
Danny.
Oh, that's amazing. I got it.
You got it.
Yeah. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Sina Lehong. I work for an organization called MLab, which stands for Mobile Application Laboratory. And I'm the corporate and program lead at MLab. I work closely with startups and also with our stakeholders. So MLab is a tech-centered business. We work along with different partners to actually build a vibrant innovation ecosystem. And how we do that is through identifying tech talents amongst the youth, and also in supporting entrepreneurs and also tech startups.
Great, thank you so much. And Gerard, na kusalimu kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Kazi endelee.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks very much. My name is Gerard Kafuku, currently the Director of Innovation and Technology, the Center for Development and Transfer of Technology, COSTECH. I'm glad that this event and the next week event is under my department. So I'm happy. I was not able to be here on the first day. I was away. So I'll have to take this opportunity to thank all the organizers, our partners at Funguo, because we are fulfilling what we planned before. We are fulfilling our annual plans. The directorate we have involves supporting innovations through funding, through technical assistance, as well as outreach programs like these ones. So basically, my background is chemical engineering, so I may be focusing much on engineering innovations, but maybe because we also support technology transfer after the innovative products are coming to the minimum viable product. So we'll share a lot today, and I welcome you to COSTECH, and I welcome you to this conversation. Thanks very much.
Great, thank you so much. So Gerard, we'll start with you. So we have been heading this world's digital innovation hub, innovation ecosystem. For a lay person, in an overview, what is it? What is Digital Innovation Hub, and what is an innovation ecosystem? For someone who just wants to know, not to become an expert.
Yeah, to me, I can say an ecosystem of innovation is the community of innovators and the technology developers that include researchers, grassroots innovators, traditional knowledge innovators, industrial innovators. So it's a community that is networked through these innovation hubs. For specifically innovation, digital innovation, we talk about the innovations that use these new emerging technologies like ICT, AI, and the like. And in Tanzania, I can say really, we have been doing very good in ICT innovations, digital innovations, especially in the financial technologies, where we see this M-Pesa, we see this mobile payments, online purchases. So we're doing very good. At the time, our levels in the Global Innovation Index rose. Though we have a challenge this year, it has dropped a little bit. So we have some work to do. For a layman way, that's what I can say about the innovation space. But all these things, we call them technology intermediaries. There are innovation spaces, maker spaces, or they call them hubs, and the incubation centers. There are technology stations, and the bigger ones like the technology parks. So we are now supporting these innovation spaces and hubs and the incubators, but also we are trying to develop our technology stations in the country And we have also designed our first technology park. So hopefully one day we may do this event in our technology park.
Wow.
Because the master plan is already, and the land has been secured. So we are looking forward for construction.
That's amazing. Where's the land located?
Bagamoyo.
Oh, wow, amazing. Karibuni kwetu wazalamu tunawakaribisha. Yeah, great. Sina, you are working with MLab, and MLab is one of the digital innovation hub. So what makes an innovation hub a digital innovation hub? And what does a normal day look like?
So, what makes, I would say, experience of especially what MLab does. So we actually support startups, but then let me just start with the 3 programs that we actually run to actually support the innovators and the startups. So we have one program that is called the Skills Accelerator Program. That's where we identify the talent of the software developers amongst the youth. And we take them through training for 12 months, and at the end of the 12 months, they get to graduate. They decide whether through the projects that they presented at the graduations, whether they want to run their own business, and they can be incubated through our Startup Accelerator Program, or they can be working for an IT company, or even be employed as in one of our startups. Right? Then we have another program that we call the Startup Accelerator Program. So that one mainly is to help the tech startups to reach commercial viable businesses quickly, and this makes it helps them to actually transit from being from the seed phase to the commercial stage. Then we have another one, what we call the ecosystem accelerator. This one is my favorite because you go to the ground, to the communities. This is where we run awareness. We stimulate. There are other areas where we have to really stimulate the ecosystem because there isn't anything digital that is happening there. So those are actually the going to the communities are my favorite because you get to now see the challenges, and even if these solutions that we are producing, who are they reaching? Because most of the time it's the urban areas, but then you find in the rurals there isn't even connectivity in South Africa. There's still areas where there isn't good connectivity. So on our daily basis, we have startups coming to our lab using the facilities, but then from my side, my responsibility is to make sure that the startups, they get the support that they need. We connect them to the industry. We also allocate industry experts that can actually assist them in working together in producing and running their business, and also in the development of the product.
Great, wow, thank you so much. That's very insightful. I hope all the hub managers in the room, they are listening. Some of those services and activities that are happening, it's very amazing to learn from what MLab is doing. And feel free to catch up with Sina afterwards so that you can share business card and best practices among each other. Grant, back to you. Your role is not very different from COSTECH in terms of mandate and what you are doing in Namibia. And she raised a very important point, grassroots innovation ecosystem. They have less appetite for the private sector. They don't look sexy and shiny. You cannot take a picture with someone in Kiela and Mbeya. The hubs, they don't look so beautiful like in Dar es Salaam. So most of the time is the role of the government to build the grassroots and subnational innovation ecosystem. What is happening in Namibia when it comes to supporting rural and grassroots innovation ecosystem that we can learn?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've hosted a lot of projects with our partners, and partners will normally give you goals or targets. And when we put out the calls, they're digital, and when you check the responses or the demographics, you realize no one from the areas have responded. And so as NCRST, we've realized this is a problem and we can't go on like this. So we've actually started a grassroots program where we actually go to the regions and go to different areas and find out what they really need to understand these programs better so that they can actually apply or take advantage or exploit these programs to help with their businesses. We really have a very small ecosystem we have a really small market because we have a really small population, but we have very friendly borders with all our neighboring countries, which gives us an opportunity to exploit businesses next door. So a problem in the grassroots for Namibia is a problem in South Africa, is a problem in Tanzania, Botswana. So essentially, all the SAI countries, once we have a solution that is looking good on our side, but we know we don't have the market to actually upscale it, then we'll focus on the neighboring countries, and there's a market for us to use these grassroots innovations on this level. So this is something we're just piloting. We've been talking about it for a long time, but it's only really kicked off right now. It's literally happening parallel to this, so there's going to be a lot of data capturing, a lot of training that's going on. We hope to see the fruits of the labor in the next 2 to 3 years, because it takes some time always. But this is one of the programs that NCRST is really passionate about, because as we've heard a lot throughout the session, and we hear a lot when our leadership speaks, that no one should be left behind.
Dr. Gerard, building up from the same question I asked Grant, beyond, we know that Makisato is happening and the primary target is grassroots innovators. Beyond Makisato, what are the internal strategies and priorities that the government has right now when it comes to subnational and grassroots innovators, especially in rural and suburban areas?
Thanks very much. We have, of course, we identified that problem also, where we did not get much applications from upcountry, especially except for Dar es Salaam and some nearby regions. So what we did first was to use the local government authorities, which have got offices in every district and villages. So we have an MOU with the local government ministry, and but we started with very high level discussion. We had a day, so we have been given access to the offices of the district executive directors. They have these officers they call community development officers, who work closely with the clusters and groups and AMCOs, these agricultural marketing cooperatives. And this is what we call village commercial bank, VCOBA. So all those groups now have access to our office. We do not have to build the cost over the country. But rather, there was one, and it has helped us to support many innovators, even from very far ahead. Remember, one of them is a very old man who converted a Land Rover, which was very old, to a tractor. But how he got us through the office of the district commissioner, so somewhere in Shinyanga Kishap. So now he is just doing his life. But also we saw, because people know now the concept of the innovation spaces, which have the role and they are close to the communities. We started to support establishments of these innovation spaces. The ones that I can say last year, 2019, which they are doing something good, 43, that's in my list. Okay. But in these 2 years, we have established many. The thing, when you establish today, they need time to catch up. So some are still wondering what to do. So we have also strengthened our programs this next year. Not next year, 5 years to come, we're going to have a program where we task them to identify community challenges and bring them to COSTECH. Okay. And then we do technology development support and piloting, because we have the section of tech transfer in our department. Okay. So through that, we've seen the increase of innovation spaces and hubs, and we believe that we will be able to reach to a very far end, last mile areas.
Okay, yeah. Okay. What is the role of private sector in supporting grassroots innovators? Like, what should private sector do? In your own opinion, it doesn't have to be COSTECH's opinion.
Yeah, that's a nice question, in my own opinion. Yes, the role of private sector is to uptake these innovative products, the proven products. But should I say, in my personal opinion, we still have little influence. Can I say influence, or I don't know what to say. I'm trying to choose a better language here. There is still little link between the private sector and these innovators we have. We have many of them at the TBI. I have a list of 33 companies doing very good. But every time I pitch to them, they say, it's risky, business is risky. So in order to solve that, that's why we introduced these funds for supporting innovation to commercialization, believing that once they pilot their business ideas or the products in the market, the community can buy so they can start their own companies. But frankly speaking, the only roles that uptake, but is still not in that good shape. Maybe for our colleagues in South Africa and Namibia.
Great. I'll move to Sina. So Sina, you are known that in South Africa there is very active engagement of the private sector in the innovation ecosystem. I don't know. Do you guys still have the Section 12J, or it has been scrapped off? Okay, we'll talk about that next time. Yeah, but I think it will be good to share your experience. I know for a fact MLab is working with a lot of private sector companies, and most of your innovators, whether in-house or remote support innovators, are also getting access to partner with the private sector. What Tanzania can learn from MLab, especially digital innovation hubs in this room, when it comes to partnership with private sector and in terms of supporting innovators to work with the private sector?
So now in South Africa, there's been a trend that a lot of private sectors, they are opening their own incubation hubs. But what we have realized with MLab is that it's easier to maybe to go to a private sector and propose how you could work, either with match funding, or you ask them what challenges do they have so you can solve them. That has been a model that has been very effective. And also another thing that I've realized with the private sector is that most of them, they want to run these incubations, but they want products that are already functioning, which sometimes it's very difficult to get. With us, it's much better because we want a viable minimal product. But then for them, they just want, their KPIs are just sometimes crazy. But I think there's a need for private sector to work with our government and also with the hubs to create, even if it's a model that would work for all of us, to make sure that if there's a hub like MLab where we start early stage startups, from us, where do they go? For them, because MLab would de-risk them to actually be able to get the funds or seed funding from an agency like TIA, then from TIA they will get them to another level. So if there could be that relationship within the hub, the government, or the technology agencies and the private sector, because the private sector has the power and the resources to actually make sure that the product at the end it can be used, it can be commercialized.
Wow, thank you so much. Let me change gears a bit and move to you, Grant. How are we doing with time? Who is keeping track of time? 15 minutes. How many minutes remain? 15. Okay, great. Yeah. So, Grant. Policies and regulations. Whenever people solve people from the government, the first thing is your policies and regulations supporting innovation. So I won't go straight at that. Are there any tools or instruments that you have, frameworks that support innovation in Namibia that we can learn from? What kind of document do you have that guides or provides strategy at the national level when it comes to innovation? Do you have like a blueprint or something? And if it works or if it doesn't, so that we don't repeat the same mistake.
I'm so glad you redirected the conversation away from the actual policies, because that's not where I have an opportunity to change things. But in terms of documents, we do have documents which kind of give guidance and direction as to where the sector would like to go, and we give this input we give this information through to the ministry or to the government, because we work under the government to try and support them as we get the information from the public sector or the hubs or the ecosystem, as we call it. So I believe Tanzania has a very similar document they're actually working on. We've given some inputs as to where our documents differ and why. But as with innovation, not everything is perfect from the start. If it is, it's not innovation. You just copied something that you saw somewhere and you're calling it innovation. So there's always a bit of stumbling, there's always a bit of, you need to change something, you need to disturb or disrupt to get somewhere. So yes, we have these documents you refer to, but our documents are constantly changing, or where we're not following them. Once we realize this document is there, but it's not serving a purpose, then we pivot to try and work better with the startups or with the hubs, because we have a very small ecosystem. I don't know how many of the people in the audience are actually hub members or connected to a hub.
Yeah.
But in Namibia, I can say there are 4 big hubs. That's 4 for a nation,
Wow.
which isn't very big at all. So when something happens within our ecosystem, you hear about it pretty quickly. So we know when something's not working or when something is working. So it gives us an opportunity to pivot really quickly, because you hear it. Not necessarily you hear it, but it comes through, the information comes through very quickly.
Okay. Yeah, so as we are wrapping up, this session was supposed to be a Pan-African session, and the African Free Continental Trade Area Agreement has been ratified finally in Tanzania and in so many other African countries. What does this mean in terms of cross-border collaboration and partnership? The name of the project is very good, Africon EU. When can we see a startup from Dar es Salaam exit in South Africa Stock Exchange? Are you seeing it soon in the next 2 years? And for that to happen, what should we do, Sina?
So I do see that happening very soon, because now there is an interest in collaboration, especially within the connected hubs already. With the psych network already, I believe that is one of the networks that we have learned so much from SAIS as connected hubs, and we have tried the cross-border programs like the Boost Up, and now even MLab and Buni Hub and COSTECH with Department of Science and Innovation, we have had a successful program called Twiga, where there was a soft landing of startups between South Africa and Tanzania, and I would say it was a successful program. So seeing some of our startups rising around globally, I see that very soon happening, because there is an interest. The only thing that has been affecting Africa is working in silos, so, and lack of collaborations and partnerships. But I see that our leaders, they've been saying that we need to reach out to more and we need to connect more, and I see that the hubs they are also willing to connect.
Yeah, a follow-up question on that. So South Africa is part of the Kings. You know the Kings? Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa.
Oh yeah.
The 4 countries that are attracting most capital, the 4 countries that have most of the innovation hub, and the 4 countries that have the most talented African youth. What are you guys that are doing that we are not doing well? Don't worry, I'll protect you. We want to be part of the Kings also, so that it become Kings with T somewhere there. Tanzania. Yeah, so what are you guys doing so well that we can learn from you?
So I think with from our side, with my experience especially, because if I could share my story, how I ended up being part of the ecosystem, is I studied computer science, but I never liked computer science. But because the government made sure that there's like hubs like MLab, there's hubs like RLabs, that's how I actually got to now start having love for technology, for innovation. Even when I started going to MLab, I didn't even understand what a mobile application was that time. And I just graduated from school as a computer science degree student. But the love and the interest was not there, because in university the learning system is different. But then when I got to MLab, I got a different atmosphere, people like the way entrepreneurs, innovators coming every day would be sitting at lunch and someone would share about a language that they've Googled about or they found on YouTube, or a new app, or a new business that is emerging from Kenya. So those are the hubs that we need them to actually stimulate the ecosystem and also for the community to use, because that's how we learn. That's how the interest, and even my peers now that are doing well in South Africa, most of them, if you can ask, that's how they've learned. The hubs have given them that opportunity to actually explore and even to test. I think that speaking from my experience, that has worked for me.
Yeah, great. So we have exhausted our time, and I'll give you guys each like a minute or so to say your parting words as we're wrapping up this session. So I'll start with Dr. Gerard.
Yeah, thanks very much. I don't know how to use a minute, but just thank you. What I need to encourage you is that let's connect these events with our national goals, that, like you said, because I always insist on people to understand where the country should go. What they're doing, the Kings, is the connection between the national vision and the hubs. In the schools, universities, we are taught these academic learnings, but there is this professional learning in colleges, but this experience learning in hubs. So that interaction between universities and the hubs is very important in connection with the independence of technology, as our policies say, and in connection with transforming our universities into a, do you call it a fourth generation university, where people coach, not only lecture. So that's my take for today.
Grant?
In terms of the ecosystem, I just want to say to all the startups, grasp every opportunity. Just run with it. If you're surrounded by hubs and they're supporting you, take everything they have, and you know what your business is about, run with it. If you don't graft, you won't get to the next stage. Hubs, you're not alone. Sina was saying there's silos. Don't try and be better than the next hub. Work with that hub to create better startups. Because once you deliver good startups, people will start focusing on your hub to see what you can bring to the table. This is a great system for me and for COSDIC, because it looks good for us when you do this, because this is what we want for our ecosystems. We want them to work together to be an ecosystem that depends on each other, not an ecosystem that's breaking the ecosystem itself down. So this is my takeaway.
Great, thank you so much. And Sina?
So from my side is, when we collaborate, I think this one is very important, because sometimes I've realized that sometimes with collaborations, you find one entity is doing more than the other one. Let's do it together and make sure that we deliver. That's what we need to do. Sometimes I've realized there have been so many bilateral projects in South Africa within other countries. They failed because there was not commitment. And I don't know whether is it the team or is it whether the project the way it is, but if we do get an opportunity to collaborate, let's make sure we implement and we deliver 100%. Let's go all in, and let's not competing. It won't help us. If someone is doing better, ask, what are you doing right? That how can we work together so you assist me to also be where you are? Let's not compete. Let's stop working in silos. Let's come together and make sure that we deliver this. And it is possible, and we can do it even better. And I believe that the next big companies, they'll be coming from Africa. The reason, I think there's a reason why there's an interest from European countries now, because they know that the next big thing is coming from Africa. We don't know which country, but then for the fact that it's in Africa, that's what matters. So let's make sure we deliver and implement. Let's not just, let's collaborate and sign documents and that's it. Let's give it our all. Thank you.
Yeah, so for starters, we know that Elon is from South Africa, so yes, the next billionaires are going to come from Africa. Yeah, so thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a great pleasure to facilitate and moderate this session. It was very insightful, and these colleagues are here. Please try to learn the best practices from them exchange knowledge, exchange business card, establish partnerships. Let's open up our countries. Tusio kijiji. This is an opportunity to send Tanzanian companies in South Africa, to Namibia, and other places, but also to connect our ecosystem. Thanks to the organizers, thanks to all the partners who put this together. I'm humbled and honored by Kostek appointing me to moderate this session. And have a great afternoon. And back to you, Buntu Majaja. Sawubona.
Thank you so much. Let me see here if I can join here. Hey, how's that? Looks good. But I'm not here to ask the questions. I want to open up for a discussion to reflect with you 3 or 4 or maybe 5 questions. Anyone who'd like to engage our panelists all across, and this time, of course, our moderator sharing your expertise as well. Please, who does have a thought, anything to add? I've got a roaming mic that is ready to come to you. You can raise your hands. It will take 3 questions for our panelists. It can be for one, for all of them. We've got 1 question there. You can direct it a specific one. 2nd question here, and looking for a 3rd hand. Even if you've got something to add. Right, let's take what we have so far. Maybe it's still marinating. Of course, well, those will be welcome when it's ready. Name, surname, where you're from, and question. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Alexa Hayden. I'm from the UNDP for Global program, which is also supported by the European Union. So good to be here in good company. My question to Sina and the panelists is what can development partners and the government do to stimulate this collaboration? I think that we hear a lot about it, we all want it, but of course part of the competition is competition for funding, and it's unhelpful, I think, then when we issue these funding proposals which ask hubs to compete against each other for a small and I would say ever diminishing part of funding. So, what is best practice? What is, what have you seen across Africa that's worked well?
Thank you very much for that question. I think anyone can take that there, but we'll start with yourself, Sina, and then your question, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Pamela, and I come from the Institute of Accountancy, Arusha. So I have a question to the panelists and maybe everyone in here. We are talking of innovation hubs and how they are there to change the future. And most of the ones that are benefiting from these hubs are youth. So I come from a higher learning institution with around 7,000 students. And we started our hub called the IA Business Startup Center back in 2019. But unfortunately, it is, I would say it's a challenge to get the youth to join and get the benefits of the hub, as you mentioned. No matter how hard you try and convince them the importance of the hub, but most of them would just look at you and I don't know if they don't understand what you're trying to say. So my question is, what can we do to make them understand about the hubs and how they can help them? Thank you.
Thank you for our questions. Please, can you give them a round of applause? And over to our panelists. I think, Sina, you may start on the first one, and then we'll go down the line. And then we can come back down the line on whoever wants to go on to the second one.
So the first question, that one is it's still a challenge for us as well. Everyone wants a piece of a pie, and we don't come together as a collective to actually get the funds. Maybe I think when I was in Tanzania, I visited an organization called Tanzania Startup Association. Yeah, I think maybe if we would have maybe something like that as a continent for different organizations. I'm not sure, like that question, I'm still also trying to how MLab has done it, because we are funded directly by DSI. Most of our funding comes from the government. So for us, is our key partners for all our provinces in the country. When it comes to public funds, we are always fighting as well to get a piece of a pie. So whoever gets it, whoever, so I think there should be like a collaborative or an association, maybe that could actually, when we request for funds, then we know we go as a collective, not just as individuals. I don't know. It might be the wrong answer, maybe.
To pick up on what Sina said, I'm not sure if it's correct, but I think that the SICE program worked really well in terms of bringing the SADC countries together. So if a program was designed for not a specific thematic area, business or country, where it would say you need to have this program run in these countries to affect these, like a broader spectrum, it might be easier, but this might mean a lot more money. But if the hubs have more money to run more programs, we'll definitely have more millionaires coming out of Africa. So I think that would be that. And then in terms of, are we just answering the first question?
Okay.
Oh. In terms of the second question, what I've realized is that sometimes we need to find out what the youth are interested in. Because sometimes when we've gone through an education system where you've been set up in such a way to, if I finish with my degree, I'm going to fall into this point of employment and work for someone. It means that it's been drilled into us for a whole schooling career, which is up to 13 years without university and then university. So this entrepreneurship is not something that everyone is born with, and some people need to be taught that there's an opportunity for you to grow your own business. And this can be done in simple ways. When we go to the village, I don't know if that's something that happens in Tanzania as much as it does in Namibia, because no one is from Windhoek, everyone is from the village. So when it's holiday, you go home. And you, essentially because you work in the city, you're a little more well off than everyone in the village, and you see things, and that is your opportunity to invest as the private sector. By putting money into those businesses, you start to learn, like, this is a business that I'm running, and you become a small entrepreneur, and then you realize, wait a minute, this work that I'm doing at the office is not paying the bills the way it could be. And then you become an entrepreneur. The more you attend these hub events, and you learn more skills, you learn more coaching, that's the way that it improves the appetite for risk in terms of entrepreneurship. And this is something that needs to be taught. If the youth are not, if they're not hungry for it, then they haven't learned it. And it's going to take some time, but if you stick to it and you show them that there are benefits and advantages of being your own person, then it will grow. I know there's a great entrepreneur sitting right next to me. He's from the story I've heard, he's put in his graft, and now he's a role model. Yes.
Yeah, so if I can add something. So the challenge with on-campus innovation hub, because I know you're talking about the African Institute of Accountancy, it is not only the challenge of that institution, it's across all innovation hubs that are located within academic institution. I think one of the challenge, that is one of the biggest challenges, is the universities themselves, the way they are structured. They don't create a room for students to opt to use those innovation spaces. Because to the universities, those are just side projects. Anyone can do it. They don't even care what is happening in the innovation hubs. You find the student there in a situation they have to choose one of the two goals, either to focus on building their GPA or to go and spend time in the innovation hub and build their business. And you know what will happen. They're coming to school to get GPA. So they will see an innovation hub as just some sort of an extracurricular activity and ignore it. So first, universities themselves, they should encourage students to see value within the innovation space, incubators, accelerators, design labs, and maker spaces that are located inside the campus. And this starts with the top management. If the DVC or VC doesn't care why should they go to the Innovation Hub? I think that's one of the challenges. The second challenge that you find also with our institutions, these young people, when they go to these innovation hubs, they are looking for three things. First, they are looking for high-quality mentors and coaches to mentor them on their startups and their ideas. But when they go there, they see their same teachers, their lecturers, and then instead of coaching them, they are lecturing them. So they won't go there. Another thing is the quality of the programs and the service they receive. If you don't have good programs, good activities, an innovation hub is just another classroom. So I would rather go and do something more interesting instead of going to another classroom after spending the whole day in a classroom. You're getting me? And third also is connection to the industry. If activities that are being done within the innovation hub, they give me access to meet with new people, they give me access to get exposed, I will attend and be part of the innovation hub. So I think that's the biggest challenge the innovation hubs that are set within academic campus are facing, and that's one of the major reasons why students are not developing interest to be part of the communities within those hubs. I'll stop there.
Thanks very much. Maybe our experience for universities. And the first question is funding. We also give you fund, but I'm not going to. For funding, is just what we need to talk about the sustainability of the fund. If it's small, make it bigger. We've been issuing grants, people getting successful, but now we've changed our mindset. We want to give revolving fund so that that fund can also help other people. So for that one, I think we can be sustainable. The second, universities, this thing called innovation has become like a new jargon, I think. Science and technology, that technology, in it there is innovation. Is it? The R&D, the D is the innovation. But because people like to hear the word innovation safe, so instead of universities opening up first technology transfer offices, they went further or straight to open innovation hubs. So there was no link between the innovation hub and the management, because the tech transfer office takes care of all the innovation from the research results, how to open up a startup, a spin-off company from R&D, or to come up with a startup company, the issues of IP policies, how do we engage with the industry. So it is like a fashion. They come to us every day. I want to have an innovation space. Yeah. For what? Just because this university has got it. You see, it has been like a new chain. It's like a new wave. Everyone will need to have such a center, but the preparedness. I always challenge universities. Look at your board members. How many of them are from private sector? You're all professors with the same thinking. Yes. See, how much money do you get from R&D work? They all get money from students. Fees. In Tanzania, it is even worse. There is this what we call Higher Student Loan Board. The government gives loans to students, they go pay to the universities, so it's the same money revolving from this pocket to another pocket. So the VC is just relaxed because the money is flowing from school fees. But if they see innovation products from research and those students as part of their income, then they'll be keen to take some funds for capital. So that's a problem. That's why we have a program to facilitate universities to first establish tech transfer offices. That is, the innovation space will be in the tech transfer office. At least we can solve that.
Thank you very much, dear panelists. We'll take a last round of questions before we jump off. I hope your throats are not getting too dry there, but you can hang on with us a little bit. We're really enjoying the insights and the thoughts here. I see there is a question here, so I'm going to take a little bit more from the left this time. I see we've got a lot of enthusiasm, so we'll have last round of 5. We'll take 5 this time. So that gentleman at the back, you sir, yourself, then we'll come to you, and that gentleman there had his hand up. No, didn't you have your hand up? You did have your hand up. So let's come to you, then we'll come over to you. So if you'll start, sir, and then we'll pass the mic back.
Thank you. My name is Charles Mwambene from Ndoto. We are also grateful that we also benefited from the COSTECH by getting some financial support from there. Thank you, COSTECH. I want to contribute something here. Maybe it's not a question, but a comment from the presentation we have heard from the panelists there. Maybe what I think I have heard about the African EU, that consortium, maybe I have a different thought here, that currently we have hubs, and these hubs, in a certain way, they are coordinated. We got support from the government through COSTECH, also we partner between hubs, from some funders, and yet these hubs, I think they are benefiting maybe one group of the people, which are, to African, you can say they are more educated. So, but if you see the concept of innovation, innovation can start from any angle. In the villages, we have people who discover some things, maybe in the energy sectors, in the business sectors, but that people, they do not know to write even the proposal. So maybe I think this partnership, from this new partnership, African Consortium and European, maybe could focus on that people. If they have the idea, they can make things, then give the fund so that they can produce in large quantities, rather than maybe needing them to write a proposal. They do not know how to write the proposal, but they know what is needed to make their own innovation work. I think you can put a focus to help that people. Yeah. Also, yeah, thank you.
Let's capture that comment right there. And if there's a response or anyone wants to add, we'll come to it. Please, sir, your 2 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. I have 3 questions, very simple. One, yes. One, these innovations is not a new thing, especially developed country has passed many years ago. Why Africans we fail to benchmark maybe the approach they used to reach this point, the point they have now? That is one. Number 2, I don't know why innovative or innovation is a secret. Maybe, can we share that? Number 3, do we think by using these hubs, they are able to help us to reach somewhere? I don't know if the developed country, if they used these approaches or they use the hubs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Straightforward. Why are the innovators failing to grow? Is innovation a secret? And why is it a secret if it is? And thirdly, do you think that the hubs are working? And whether they're being useful?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Alex Mkwizu, and I'm an assistant hub manager at the University of Dar es Salaam ICT Hub. So one, I will answer the question from the madam from Institute of Accountancy in Arusha. One, I think it's the way we communicate with students. As a student, I know how to approach my fellow students to embrace innovation programs and business stuff. But I would give 100% to Mr. Jumane Mtambalike on the point of universities not crafting enough time or the programs to ensure that people or students themselves have the time to engage into the hubs themselves. So for instance, I as an assistant hub manager, we have a lot of problems because it's a problem for me to manage my time but also do my academics. But the funny thing is, we came up with different approaches to work on this. So what I advised my coach and the principal is, for these programs to work, we need to show relevance to the students. And most students go into the universities to get the GPA. So what I asked from the university is, for people who are going to take these programs, they're supposed to get some credits. So those credits are going to add something to the GPA. Now, this is something which is really important because people always think about GPA, right? So this is one, and this is my university, University of Dar es Salaam at ICT. But there are a lot of other universities around there that they won't adopt this, what I've said. So that is one.
A great point. We hear you on the first one. I think we'll have also another round of commenting later. I just want to appreciate time. Apologies on that one. Thank you so much. But I'll quickly move over here, and maybe as I'm moving, you guys can select who will be taking which questions. 2 minutes, please, ma'am, and last one.
Okay. Okay. My name is CPA Sandra Chogo. So when I hear the word innovation hubs, is it only for the IT profession? Can we have medical hubs? Can we have accounting hubs? And if we have them, where can I register? I'm from a medical background and I'm an accountant and I'm into the innovation space. I frequently think of those hubs, but I don't know how to go about them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. What does innovation entail from an industry perspective and its range? Ma'am, to see you.
Thank you. My name is Dina from Anza Entrepreneurs. I have a concern on the hub's capacity to really do the job that this huge role that we're giving to them to support innovators. We have campaigns in the country to open as many hubs, innovating hubs as possible. But do they really have the capacity to support these innovators? Maybe the youth are not joining the hubs because the hubs doesn't have the capacity. So I would love to know the experience from Namibia and South Africa. What do you do to build capacity to the hubs? And to my government, what is being done to do so in a fast way?
Thank you very much. And last question here, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Asef So from Mohas. I have just one question, and the question goes like, when you talk about challenges that affect the innovation for the graduate from school, they will always point out funding. It will be the immediate for Tanzanian context. But I would like to ask for the panelists, what are the real challenges that are related to the innovation that comes from our setting? Maybe the product of our innovations to thrive into this extending international cooperation, like Tanzania, East Africa is expanding. So how can we have a very competitive innovative products that can go out of the market and do better? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Other than finance, what else is there that can help that are hindrances that we need to challenge, that can help our innovators grow? So I'll open this one as an open panel. Please select any two of the questions and then the other can take on. We'll start with your side, Sina.
So I'll take the one for taking training to the villages and also capacity building. Because when I started in the industry, I joined an organization called Geek Culture. So Geek Culture was the first organization in South Africa to actually stimulate the ecosystem in the country by going to universities and having doing activations there, partnering with the private sector, companies like IBM, Intel, Vodacom, and Facebook. So what we would do is we would have hackathons. And hackathons would be events where either we go to the university, we host them there, or we take them to one of the innovation centers. That's how we got the youth actually to start participating, because these were fun events, not formal where we wear suits, but then they were tailored for young people, and that's how we got to engage with them. And as well as on social media, we did a big campaign on social media, interacting with the youth. And when it comes to taking the trainings to the villages, I think that one, MLab, we got a chance to actually expand to other provinces. So one thing that we've learned doing that was that our headquarters is in Pretoria, is the capital city of South Africa. But then when we had to expand to provinces like Limpopo and Northern Cape, one thing we've realized is that what we did in Limpopo could not be done in Northern Cape, because the culture, the values are different. So we had to do an intense gap analysis to understand what the community, who the community is, how are the members, their values, where are they education-wise. We needed to go to the ground. That's what we need. For you can't just come up with a program and expect that what you have done in Dar es Salaam will work in Zanzibar. It's impossible. You have to go there first. Understand the people, the culture, even what they eat, even if you have to do that. What they eat, what they like, the colors, the colors that they wear. And connect with them. That's when now you can come back with the team and start now putting a project or activities that actually would be a build up to what your KPIs would look like, or the output of what your project would look like at the end. But one thing that I know is that what we did in Limpopo didn't work in Northern Cape. And even now in Northern Cape, we're trying to open another office in another city. Two cities are not different. 2 weeks ago, I went to Uppington. We have realized that the youth they don't go to school. There's high teenage pregnancy. They rather be smoking and drinking, which is something you'd find in Kimberley, but then in Kimberley, at least there's universities, a lot of universities. In Uppington, they only have one university, and also there's only TVET colleges. And even the unemployment rate is very high. So you can tell we're going to work with young people who are broken, first of all. And as MLab, we are not psychologists. But then at this point, we need to somehow incorporate such programs that we need to partner with our health department, so we make sure that when we run, before we can even start talking about innovation and making them understand what technology is, we need to get them in the right state of mind.
Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so I will respond to the questions, I think, from the gentleman there. First, can we just copy innovation from the countries that have been successful? That is big no, because the context is very different. It took 60 years for US to build Silicon Valley. Our ecosystem is less than 12 years old. So if we want to replicate what is happening in Silicon Valley, we'll be dying even before we start. We need to look at our own system and structures. What works here? We have different problems, we have different contexts, we have different language, you have different policies and regulations, you have different institutions. You cannot just copycat and expect it will work here. It will never. Because if you just brought here a model and immediately you know that DOT is forbidding you to do that, then you can die with your Silicon Valley. So basically, we need to find something that works in our context, that our mechanism, our systems, structures, and infrastructures can support it to happen. And we are highly discouraging this whole concept of just trying to replicate everything that is happening in Silicon Valley into Africa innovation ecosystems. Innovation is secret, yes, because it's money. So most of the time when you innovate, the next stage is to commercialize, and when you commercialize, you start to get trademarks and patent and things like that. What I would discourage is to try to have that my idea mindset. you know, I don't want to tell you my idea because you're going to steal and run away from it. I know that it's like a Tanzanian thing. So that one I would discourage, because for you to build a great innovation, you need to collide your heads, you need to meet people, you need to pitch in different events, you need people to give you opinion and feedbacks so that you can be able to consolidate it. But when it is actual an MVP or a product that can be taken to the next stage and commercialized, yes, it has to stay a secret. That's why there is IP rights and stuff like that. And finally, the issue of, is a hub the right approach? We don't have any other approach. So, which remained the only approach. Did other developed countries also use the hubs? Yes, that's why you hear things like Y Combinator, Helsinki Think Tank, Alto ES, entrepreneurship support. All these matured countries also in one way or the other, they had these incubators, they had the accelerators. The only difference between them and us, they started very early. Some of them started in the 80s. Some of them started in the 70s. Concept like venture capitalists, private equity, and angel investment. I'm currently right now reading a book of 1992 of US, which talks about VC and how to approach VC. That was 1992. You can imagine, this is 2022, and private equity and VC is a very new concept and a very exciting concept in Tanzania. But in 1992, some people were already doing it in the US, companies were being acquired, startups were being traded in IPO and stuff like that. So I feel hubs can be the right approach, but they cannot do it alone. We need to build an ecosystem so that others can come in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Grant, 2 minutes, please, and we can have another 2 minutes from the doc, and we'll close off.
I realize that all the questions have literally been answered.
Okay.
So I just want to say that hubs are very much, their only goal is to stimulate thinking in a positive sense of there's a problem and we need a solution. So it doesn't matter, like for instance this room, when Ubuntu gave us an opportunity to ask questions, no one was interested at that point because the conversation had not yet stimulated your mind in such a way that you had all the questions. Then we engaged a little later and everyone was excited to ask a question. So now we're asking questions, but this is what a hub is all about. Asking questions, but with the goal of finding a solution. Not just asking questions to break down the other person's thinking. So that is what it's about. And if we, this lady was asking if she can go to a hub because of her line of study. It shouldn't be like that. A hub should be able to have people of different expertise come together because you need everyone to work on a problem. You don't just need an engineer to solve a problem. You need people with other expertise. So go to a hub near you. If they're not supporting you, go to the next hub. You have that luxury in your country. In my country, you only have a few hubs to choose from.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Grant. And before Doc, you come in, we do have one of our stakeholders here from the EU, who is Mr. Gonzalez, who I'd like to invite on stage with your help to send his greetings. He is headed out to another meeting, but he thought it's very important to be here with us today as a stakeholder and let us know that the support and the partnership is appreciated. So if you can help me to welcome Mr. Gonzalez on stage, just to say hello, and then we'll continue with our panel discussion. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Jose Luis Gonzalez, and I'm from the EU delegation to Tanzania and East Africa community. First, I would like to say a big thank you to the panelists. I really enjoyed the discussion. So one more big round of applause for the panelists, please. Thank you so much. Firstly, we would like to say it's an honor for us as the EU to be part of this, to be part of the African EU initiative. I would like to also welcome you guys to congratulate Buni Innovation Hub as part of this program. So big round of applause for them. So for us at the EU, innovation and entrepreneurship is a key political agenda. We have definitely seen a shift in the past year or so, particularly after COVID in terms of digital. So for us, we see this and ourselves as a big player in this space. In addition to African EU, here in Tanzania in the region, we're also supporting the Funguo program. So at least we're working towards and working with the innovation hubs directly. But in addition to that, in terms of the legislative framework, we're also launched a new program called Digital for Tanzania, working directly with the Ministry of ICT. So on that note, we want to say that we're going to continue our support. We're happy to be here. And just to take a note of Sina's comment that she wants the next big corporation to be from Africa, I challenge everyone in this room for that company to be from Tanzania. So all the best, and let's keep the discussion going. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez. Great to have you. Please help us to walk off, Ms. Gonzalez. Excellent thoughts there, and I think some opportunities and understanding of where our partners see their priorities, bringing their value, and so also believing in our country here, Tanzania. Listen to me saying our country. I promise I love this place. I do wish I was born here. But I'll hand over to you, Mr. Gerald, Dr. Gerald Kafugo, to continue on the questions that we had here. Feel free to pick out any of those that resonated with you.
Yeah, you said you need to take two? You need to take two questions?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'll take the last one. I'll start with that one. The lady said, is innovation only for ICT? And I love this question because I can give you an example. When we were developing the master plan of our technology park, we gave the consultants to Indians. They firstly developed an ICT park. They thought innovation is ICT. So I told them, no, we're developing a technology park. Innovation cuts across all sectors. This issue of ICT, why ICT has been very easy, because we did not need huge infrastructure to start ICT hubs. There was this MNOs, mobile network operators. They started providing data services, the bundles, internet. So it was easy for a youth to develop an app and use it. Youth, we are not supposed to go construct a telecommunication tower. So everything was already there. The computers were there. Everything was there. And the need was there. People needed simple services. But I'm encouraging that you know this. It's been a very big confusion, not only from you, from many stakeholders that we face. They think innovation is ICT. And I say as an engineer, innovation is about energy sector, manufacturing, agriculture. In these 2 years, we've supported 33 agricultural innovative solutions. They are now working out of 156. So you see, the Buni Hub and the DTBI has been highly diversified. We have companies which are producing biofertilizers. So you see, it's not only about ICT. So I welcome the idea of medicine. If you are in an institution that you need to open up a medicine hub, we can help that. Another question was the challenge of funding is highly spoken, not other challenges. It's true, because money can buy everything. But the fund for capital is one of the biggest challenges for innovators, because they do not have this capacity of going to a bank and take a loan. So COSTECH is going to pilot the de-risking fund from this year, I think, where innovators can be given a fund to start their company, and then they can return that money with the very little interest, with all those issues like bring a bank statement, bring your collateral, whatever. So we think that the funding is really an issue, but there are other challenges. These are technical challenges. For instance, we have inadequate tooling capacity in the country. South Africa, they're very good in that. The ability of fabricating these products from idea, from engineering drawings into a product. I have an innovator in Kigoma who has invented we call it electronic mosquito repellent. It produces certain waves. But that casing, that polymer casing, till today, he cannot fabricate it. So the issues of material engineers, the issues of highly trained tooling experts not there. Even the fabrication equipment is not there. So we have that. And then another thing, in order to produce competitive products from hubs, there's a challenge of quality infrastructure. We have at least 6 institutions which are forming their national quality infrastructure. In South Africa, I think we have more than 500, a lot of them. How many of our universities are accredited? How many of our R&D centers staff are certified? So those things, in order to enjoy that, is called the African Continental Free Trade Area. It means that you need to compete with other countries. So we need to solve issues like TBTs, the technical barriers to trade. We need to solve issues like SPS, sanitary and phytosanitary issues in our products. So all those kind of things affect also innovators. So the nation is aware of that. That's why we have developed the first national quality policy. It's in the final stages, and including our national IP policy, which is also in the final stages. So at least there are more challenges than fund. Fund is very popular, but these hidden challenges, you may have fund, you don't have a place to fabricate. Then that's another problem. I think I can end up there.
Thank you very much for our panelists here today. Do we agree we started getting very energized, that we've gone a little bit over time. There were probably more questions. Were there more questions that wanted to come? Okay, no, none so far, but I think then we've been covered by our panelists today. And I want us to thank them, but not just any usual thank you. I would like us to stand up and give them a standing ovation. And when we stand up, we just start clapping for them, and then they'll start walking off, and we appreciate them. Thank you very much to our panelists, everyone. As they take pictures, please, pictures here on the stage. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please feel free to take a seat. Looking good, looking good. Hey, that's excellent. Thank you so much. Fantastic, just absolutely fantastic. Today we are truly building an ecosystem, we are collaborating, we're breaking down doors and discussing what it means to innovate. And before we do close off our session with a workshop today, which helps us just to continue the discussion we've been having. I think some of our legs might have stopped moving now. Maybe you don't feel them anymore. Maybe some of you want to go for a quick health break. We'll ask that we come back here in 5 minutes for us to continue our workshop. You can sit here as well. You can stand. You can stretch. But let's take a 5-minute break, and then let's come back exactly in 5 minutes. So that will be 4:05 local time, and we'll continue. DJ will play us some background music in the meantime. Over to you, DJ. Thank you. Thank you for those of us that are here and starting and feeling ready. We'll start shortly. I'll just start sharing a little bit here in terms of what it is that we do, so that while the others are coming in. I hope you guys have had, though, so far, a not too bad day. Hopefully it's been good, hopefully it's been stimulating. Now we're going to do a little bit of some work and some thinking, but really some creative stuff. It's not going to feel like hard work. You know how it's like as you're doing when you are working with your startups and your innovators and with your ideas, etc. But this will be about how we plug what we've been talking about today into the work that we're all doing. So I do hope that the rest of our team members may be coming in. But as they're coming in, I know that the Buni Hub team is also calling them, just reminding them to come in. Now, I am from South Africa and the organization called the S Innovation Summit. We essentially organize a conference. We have as well as an accelerator and also a community that is across Southern Africa, about 16 African countries represented in the community. And I found myself at the organization because we believe that the African entrepreneur is the one that builds Africa. And so the organization exists to support the entrepreneur to build the continent by bringing the resources to them. And this is something that very much resonated with me as someone who grew up in a humble part of South Africa and found myself studying at the capital city. And when I was there, I saw many of my young brothers and sisters on the streets, and I asked myself, why is that? And why is that the case? What is happening? And I didn't get an answer. But as I continued to ask myself this question, I realized that had it not been for one or two things in my life that could have changed because of where I come from, my mother's back, my family, etc., that could have been me. And even though I don't have an answer, I know that there's something, the only answer I can have is that I should do something about it. And so entrepreneurship became the only, I think, promise. You helping me to round up the guys there? Super. And so for me it became, I have to do something about it, and entrepreneurship is the only way to do that. And so over time I started my own businesses. I failed dismally, and many of the challenges that now I am supporting entrepreneurs with is because of the lessons. Sometimes we won, most of the time we lost. In my final business, we were able to raise some funding and work cross-border between East Asia and Africa, but our partners went our separate ways. And then my last business closed before the COVID pandemic. Of course, that was a very terrible time. I didn't hear how that was like, by the way, here in Tanzania, but I hope that many of us in this room have recovered and weren't too badly affected by that terrible time. I think we will begin today. For those of us that just not sure of who will be coming, because it will be better if you are at a table, but if you are not, it's also okay, because we'll be really discussing today and doing some workshopping. And I'm really here to be a shaman. I'm here to facilitate. I'm here to help us walk through the journey of the thinking of how do we get from where we are, the various things that we are all doing and where we are from, to share them today and then connect them to a shared purpose as well. And that's really the hope for today, is that the purpose, the digital hubs, innovation hubs for purpose can be something that we can all share. And in order to do this, we'll be doing an ideation and solutions workshop. So you have with you some Post-its. There will be Post-its on the table, those red, yellow, and so squares. Then you also should be having your notebooks. And in these notebooks is where you'll be taking your notes. And the idea is that you're really just scribbling down on these real quick so that we can then also share with each other. And we'll do a lot of that as well. And we'll have some time to share. I'll be putting on my timer here, and we want to go through the session. It won't take longer than 30 minutes. So how does that sound? Are we awake? Are we alive? Are we ready to give our thoughts, to engage? Yes? Wonderful. I hear some energy in the front. What about at the back there? You guys ready to engage? I know, gentlemen, you had a comment you still wanted to add on. I hope that we can still hear from you. Super, super, super. Excellent. So let's kick it off here by laying some ground rules. Not really rules, but more like guidelines of how best we can benefit from, let's see here, our clicker is on my side or not. Is that moving? Will you help me there, gentlemen? Excellent. So as I mentioned today, we're talking about a shared purpose, really a point of view. We're all facing in different ways in terms of what our organizations are doing, how our context is like, what it is that we are all seeing. And I hope at the end of today, we can all have a more shared purpose and a shared point of view. So today is about putting ourselves in ecosystem players' shoes. It's about putting ourselves in each other's shoes, such that we can not only learn, but also share what we are doing. And I think that some of the things that will be helpful, this clicker, as we ideate, is to think of this as an opportunity to have new ideas. Let's really be open here. It's an opportunity to stimulate your mind with new ideas from others, and suspend judgment whenever you hear anything, or even yourself. We're not trying to be practical yet. We are really here to dream. And I hope that we can walk away here with a shared dream. And so that sometimes means that you will be just sharing ideas, whether they're feasible or not, whether it's true or not, whether it's practical or not, but you want to be thinking of what is the ideal, what is the purpose, the thing that comes before the what and the how is the why, and that cannot be limited or determined by where we are now. That is only limited by our imagination. So let's let our imagination flow here today, and feel free as well, feel comfortable. This is a place where we only give positive thoughts, positive ideas. So no one will be having any judgment. This is a judgment-free zone, and I want you to be able to share comfortably. And anyone who's giving feedback like that's not practical, or I don't like that, or anything like that, I will unfortunately have to ask security escort you out immediately. So please hold to that. And then lastly, we're here to focus on the entrepreneur, their experience. Let's keep that in mind in terms of what they're going to have when you guys are interacting with them, but in general as well, yourselves interacting within the ecosystem. And DJ will be helping me here every now and again when we start doing our work, just to play some things that will help us think in the background. So firstly will be for us just to orientate ourselves in the right direction in terms of what are the things that matter to you, what are the things that matter to each of your individual organizations. And what I'm sharing here is a sort of an achievement three-way framework where you want to ask yourself three things in order to point yourself in the direction of where your ideas want to be coming from. Firstly, your mission and vision of the organization. We just want to rehash that. And then the strategic goals. What are the things that you're trying to achieve as an organization in the next 2, 3, 5 years? What are the things that matter for you right now? And then how do you see your role in the ecosystem? So I will give us 3 minutes to jot each of these things down. each of us gets and really you don't want to be thinking a lot about this. It's going to be the first or the second thing that comes to mind. And that's what you want to get down, because that's really what is practically accessible to you and what you believe in your heart. So let's take 3 minutes quickly to draft these and just point ourselves in the right direction. And Mr. DJ there will just play some classical music for us as we do that. So you can write down on a piece of paper question 1, question 2, and question 3, and jot these down, please. Having your notebooks near you or pen. If you don't, please feel free to pick up your hand. We'll bring one to you. Pen and notebook. Got about a minute left, so feel free to continue here. For those that don't have, you can think about it in your mind for now, and then as soon as you get that, we'll give you a little bit of extra time. Don't feel bad if you don't know. Also, these are the things that should be, you can ask yourself, why are you involved in this organization? Why are you involved in the ecosystem? Because at the end of the day, the reason you're doing this also contributes to the organization. Thirty more seconds. Superb, superb. That's it. That's our time for this one. Of course, you may let it marinate a little bit more if you'd like. But this is really to give us a direction. Where is it that our focus is going? And then for us to also be able to hear from each other. What are the things that our colleagues find important? What are the things that our colleagues see their role being in the ecosystem? So I will be coming, I'd like to suggest anyone who'd like to start here. I think we can go around, and whoever's keen, we can take about 5 or 6 of anyone who wants to share, and I've got roaming mics here for us. But can I please get some hands who'd like to share from their perspective, their point of view? Who'd like to start? Come on, guys. We're here to make things happen. We're here to talk. We're here to share. We're here to learn from each other. We're here to discuss. Who's starting? Otherwise, I'll pick. I see eye contact. Ole's fantastic. Thanks so much. And then who's going to follow here?
So what am I supposed to do exactly?
If you can share your responses to those 3 questions, please. Who you are, and then just your responses in terms of how you guys see it. And then I'll give someone else the mic who's going to follow. Drop the mic here. My good sir, you want to? Hey, you're not done yet. You're still writing. Who's ready? Are you ready, sir? Hey? Oh, you just came in now. Okay, who else is done? Come to this table, this side. How you guys doing? You can take. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
We'll start with the lady here, and then after you. We'll start with her, then we'll follow you, and then someone else who follows her will go like that.
Okay.
So she'll start. Thanks.
My name is Dina from Anza Entrepreneurs, which is an organization that supports social enterprises in Tanzania that are working very hard to provide life-improving products and services. And we do that by providing them with capacity building, by providing them with, we call it passion capital, and connect them with relevant communities or networks that will help these businesses grow and scale. So our vision is we want to see a Tanzania where all people have access to opportunity to change their lives for better. How? As I said, we enable businesses to grow by providing them with capacity building, with capital, and relevant communities. So our strategic goals is to run accelerator programs, like these are our goals, to run accelerator programs annually that take these social enterprises from one stage of their business to the other. And our main aim is to help these enterprises to become capital ready, investment ready. And our role in the system, we see ourselves as I said, we are accelerators. So our role is to help the businesses scale, grow and scale. Like we have a number of hubs that are in incubator stage. So we take enterprises from them, it's like a conveyor belt, from them, and then we help them grow and scale.
Wonderful. Round of applause, please. Thank you very much. It's great work. Sir, over to you. Please share.
Okay, thank you. My name is Charles from Dotwab. From Dotwab, we have a vision and a mission. Dotwab, first of all, is a hub which is building a capacity for women. We are also providing a space for them where they can work, they can work towards their goals. We are also providing training and making sure that they also connect with the people who are really working in the industry. So they just get a fresh knowledge from the people who are working on the field of that. So the vision is to prepare the next generation of successfully innovative women entrepreneurs. We are only dealing with the group of women. It's only women. So that is our mission. And the vision that we have is to have a prosperous Africa where women will lead a sustainable business and livelihood. So that is our vision. And what are we doing to achieve this one? First of all, we are providing training programs per different courts. For example, we can be having a court of 12 weeks, maybe dealing with the tourism, the next court on agriculture and agribusiness, the next court on other themes. So, and these themes are always determined from the surveys, that which one do they need training. After they getting the result, the way we host the cohort depending on that results from the survey. Other things, we are also recruiting the qualified trainers to train the women at their course, and we are also designing a curriculum that really matters for the women to get successful in the business.
Wonderful.
That is And our strategic goal is based on these activities to make sure that the women are reached in this business space. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Round of applause. Let's thank the gentleman for sharing. Thank you so much, sir. Who else would like to share a minute on their side? We've still got our mics. Gentleman at the back. Striped shirt. Please, if you can pass the mic to that gentleman. Is that side? I see 2 mics coming to you. Very nice. Who else? There's another one there. Over to you. Yeah, thank you so much. I will start.
Thank you very much for these presentations. Yeah, for us as Digital Innovation, my name is Joel E. Malugu, a hub manager from Digital Innovation Center. Actually here we are staying the table linked to the Ministry of Community Development. So I would like to explain a little bit what are our goals. Of course, is to become a better innovation centers for sustainable development. And the other things is discovery of new solution, new digital solution from new generated innovative ideas. So how are we going to achieve it? Just to provide a space for the new innovator who are coming to our space for the purpose of generating the ideas. Just by doing some sort of incubations and mentorship programs. And also we have got mission and vision. Starting with the visions is to become the most competitive and leading innovation center. And also on the part of missions, we as a group is to inspire and produce capable innovator who will create employment and solving community challenges. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.